Picture this. You're sitting at home, maybe hungry after a long day, and you decide to order pizza. Or perhaps you're planning your next getaway, scrolling through endless options on a travel app. It's all so easy, so convenient, and you barely think twice about it. You enter your name, your email, maybe even your address and payment details into an app you've used a dozen times before. It feels routine, almost automatic, because you trust these platforms with your most personal information. After all, it's a big company, one with a shiny logo and a reputation to protect. Surely your data is locked up tight, right? But sometimes all it takes is a tiny, overlooked flaw, a single crack in the digital armor, for everything to go wrong. Last week, that's exactly what happened. A small, seemingly insignificant mistake in their system quietly grew into a full-blown disaster. Suddenly, without warning, thousands of users' private information spilled out onto the internet for anyone to see. It was a nightmare scenario, unfolding in real time. This wasn't some elaborate Hollywood-style hack with shadowy figures in dark rooms. No, it was just a simple oversight. A digital door left wide open, waiting for someone to walk through. The result? A flood of personal data, names, emails, phone numbers, private messages, even location history, exposed in a matter of seconds. The scale was staggering. The first warning signs weren't alarms blaring, but whispers on obscure tech forums. Developers started noticing an API behaving strangely, like it was giving away too much information. At first, it seemed like just another bug, something that would be patched in the next update. But soon, the truth became clear. Anyone, anywhere, could simply ask for user data, and the system would hand it over. No security checks, no questions asked. It was as if the locks had been removed from every door. Imagine a bank vault left wide open, with no guards, no alarms, just an open invitation for disaster. And this wasn't just a handful of accounts. We're talking about tens of thousands of users, all affected in an instant. Users of the ConnectSphere app, people who trusted it with their social lives, their conversations, their memories, had their privacy shattered in a moment. Names, emails, phone numbers, messages, even location history, all laid bare for the world to see. The sense of violation was overwhelming. The trust users placed in ConnectSphere, built up over years, was destroyed in an instant. Many deleted the app, vowing never to return. This isn't just a story about technology failing, it's about trust, how fragile it is, and how quickly it can be broken when companies let their guard down. In our hyper-connected world, one small oversight can trigger a chain reaction, with consequences that ripple far beyond the original mistake. The digital dominoes fell, one after another, and the damage was done. Irreversible and far-reaching. It's a wake-up call for anyone who thinks their data is always safe online. No system is perfect, and no company is immune. So how did this happen? What went wrong behind the scenes? And most importantly, what can we learn from this disaster to protect ourselves in the future? Let's break it down, step by step. Because understanding how these cracks form, and how they become canyons, is the first step to making sure your own data doesn't fall through. Before we go further, let's be clear. This is serious. Real people were put at risk: identity theft, scams, and more. We're not here to point fingers, but to learn. Think of this as a digital self-defense class. We'll break down the tech jargon so anyone can follow. The goal? Empower you to protect your data. Remember, behind every leaked data point is a real person. Our aim is to help you stay safe, not just scare you. If you find this useful, consider subscribing for more digital safety tips. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts. First up, what exactly is an API? Let's demystify it. API stands for Application Programming Interface. But what does that really mean, and why should you care? APIs are everywhere, quietly powering the apps and websites you use every day, even if you've never seen one directly. Think of it as a waiter in a restaurant. You place your order, the waiter, API, takes it to the kitchen server and brings your food, data, back. The waiter is the go-between, making sure you get exactly what you asked for without you ever needing to step into the kitchen. You don't need to know how the kitchen works. The API handles it. All you do is make a request, and the API takes care of the rest, translating your needs into instructions the kitchen understands. APIs let apps and services talk to each other, sharing information and features behind the scenes. They're like digital translators, making sure different systems can communicate smoothly. For example, a travel website uses APIs to get flight info from airlines. Instead of calling each airline, the website sends a request through an API and gets all the details instantly. Your weather app uses an API to fetch forecasts from a remote server, so you always know if you'll need an umbrella, without ever seeing the complex data exchange happening in the background. APIs are the invisible plumbing of the internet, connecting services, moving data, and making modern life more convenient. Without them, most of your favorite apps simply wouldn't work. But they need clear rules. What can be shared, and with whom. These rules are like the restaurant's policies, making sure only the right people get the right orders. If those rules are missing or weak, things can go very wrong. Sensitive data might end up in the wrong hands, or systems could be left open to attack. In ConnectSphere's case, the API was like a waiter who handed out everyone's orders to anyone who asked, causing confusion and chaos. That's where the trouble began. Suddenly, private information was exposed, and users were left wondering what went wrong. APIs are powerful, but only as secure as the instructions they're given. Developers must set strict guidelines to keep data safe. When those instructions fail, so does your privacy. Even the best technology can't protect you if the rules aren't followed. Let's see how that happened here, and why understanding APIs is more important than ever in our connected world. ConnectSphere's API was designed with a simple goal in mind: to help users find and connect with friends easily, making social networking seamless and fun. The way it worked was straightforward. The app would send a request to the server, asking for your friend's details, and the API would respond by delivering that information back to your device. But beneath this simplicity lurked a critical issue. The real problem wasn't with the API's functionality. It was with the lack of essential security checks that should have protected user data. In a secure system, the API should always verify not just who is making the request, but also what information that person is actually allowed to access. This is a basic principle of cybersecurity. However, ConnectSphere's API only checked if you were logged in. It didn't bother to confirm whether you had the right permissions to view someone else's private data. It didn't take long for attackers to notice this glaring oversight. They quickly realized the system's weak spot. By simply changing the user ID in their API requests, hackers could trick the system into handing over private information belonging to other users, without any challenge or warning. Imagine a nightclub where the bouncer checks if you have a ticket, but never checks if you're actually allowed into the VIP section. That's exactly what happened here. The flaw was shockingly simple, almost embarrassingly so, but the consequences were absolutely massive and far-reaching. With just a few minor tweaks to their requests, attackers could suddenly access the personal data of thousands, sometimes even millions of unsuspecting users. It was as if the digital door to the entire system had been left wide open, inviting anyone to walk right in. This wasn't the result of a sophisticated high-tech hack. It was simply taking advantage of a basic, preventable oversight in the system's design. The aftermath was a privacy disaster. Users everywhere were left wondering if their personal information was safe, and trust in the platform was shattered. So, what exactly did the attackers manage to get their hands on? The answer is both alarming and eye-opening. The vulnerability is called Insecure Direct Object Reference, or IDOR. It's when an app lets you access data just by changing a number in a request, without checking if you're allowed. ConnectSphere's API fetched user data based on the ID provided, no double-checking. Attackers wrote simple scripts to cycle through user IDs, collecting private info at scale. This is a well-known, easily preventable mistake in web development. A few missing lines of code led to a massive breach. The attackers got it all: names, emails, phone numbers, even birth dates. With this info, scammers could launch targeted phishing attacks or try to access other accounts. The leak included event histories, social circles, and for some, live location data. Even private messages were exposed, conversations people thought were confidential. This kind of data is gold for blackmailers and identity thieves. Victims faced real risks: identity theft, stalking, and a profound loss of privacy. The psychological impact of being exposed like this can last a lifetime. It's not just about stolen data, it's about stolen trust. The consequences are immediate and personal. For many, the damage is done. So how can companies prevent this? The solution isn't fancy tech, it's getting the basics right. Every API must check not just if a user is logged in, but if they have permission to access specific data. Follow the principle of least privilege. Only share what's necessary. Limit what each API can access. Don't return more data than needed. Code reviews and automated security tests are essential. Use tools to catch common vulnerabilities like IDOR before launch. Have an incident response plan. Detect breaches fast, fix them, and communicate honestly with users. Transparency is key to rebuilding trust. Security is everyone's responsibility, from developers to executives. Companies must treat user data like gold, because to attackers, it is. What can you do? Start with data minimalism. Only share what's absolutely necessary. Don't give apps more info than they need. Dive into privacy settings. Lock down your profiles. Limit who can see your data. Use unique passwords for every account, and manage them with a password manager. If a service is breached, change your passwords immediately. Be skeptical of unexpected emails or texts, especially after a breach. Never click suspicious links. Go directly to official sites. Treat your personal data like cash. Don't hand it out freely. Stay alert for phishing attempts using your leaked info. Default privacy settings are rarely your friend. Customize them. A little paranoia online is healthy. The less you share, the safer you are. Take control of your digital life. Don't wait for companies to protect you. Start now. The Connect Sphere leak is a harsh lesson in digital trust and responsibility. Even simple mistakes can have huge consequences. Companies must prioritize security and treat user data with care. For users, it's time to be proactive. Question what you share, use strong passwords, and stay vigilant. The digital world isn't automatically safe. We have to make it safe. Good habits and awareness are your best defense. Stay informed, stay skeptical, and protect your data. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more clear, practical advice on digital safety. The more you know, the safer you'll be. Don't let your data be the next domino to fall. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Cyber Network.